So I want to say a little bit now about the practical elements. If this is something that you want to do, I think it's just worth just checking that this might be the right thing for you. So certainly that those people who are thinking of coming on a program themselves, but also for those of you who are perhaps interested in creating a program within your team, within your unit. So a couple of things to, I guess, the two questions to ask. Am I able to do this? So eligibility, because there are some things that are worth thinking about. And the second thing is, am I willing? We've talked a little bit about it, and we'll talk a little bit about how they work in a while, but it's a big undertaking. We've talked about some of the benefits. We think it's really exciting, and the people who go through the programs are really excited to be doing that, but it's worth just making sure that actually you really are up for this, not in theory, but in practice. So these two questions that you can always ask yourself: am I willing to do this, and am I able to do this? On the some of the requirements to go in, on the eligibility, actually, as I said, it is pretty broad, right? It is about whether you have the right to work in the UK fundamentally. There is also some, if you've recently studied something, say, at university, which is directly overlapping with the content of the apprenticeship, then you aren't eligible. But other than that, the eligibility is pretty broad. But I think the key thing, if we just go back one slide, is a bit around am I willing? You know, what are my reasons for wanting to do the apprenticeship? What is it you want to get out of this? Because I think if you have really clear personal goals and ambitions for yourself from the program, then the program can really sing for you. If it's kind of like, I should do some training, or if someone, you know, and you're trying to say, I think you should really do this, like, okay, I'll do it for them, not for me. So that's why when you get an enrollment form from us, the first question on it is, what are the 3 reasons you want to do this program? What is it you want to get out of it? And we encourage people to be as selfish and as venal as possible in that, because actually, if people can associate the program with something that is really personal, important to them, then it makes a big difference, right? I mean, it's true of all training programs, but particularly something like this. And you know, is the apprenticeship the right answer to that? Maybe it's another training course. Maybe actually it's doing a standalone qualification with CIPD is more appropriate, or another bit of training that the civil service has to offer. It has to be something about the apprenticeship that sings to you, that makes you want to do that in particular. So if we go on to the next slide, just a little bit more on to help you think about whether this is something that's appropriate for you, and some of the other minimum requirements. So actually, we expect to have, you don't have to have them, but it makes them, this is the expectation that you have GCSEs, that you're in a role that maps to the standard. We have lots of people come to us and say, oh, I really want to learn some of the skills that are covered by the standard, but actually it's not their job. It's not defined by the training that makes up, that's covered by the program, but actually the job occupation that is specified in the standard. So actually, if you're not in an HR role that maps naturally, it won't be perfect, it won't be complete, but that doesn't match naturally to the standard, then it will be a struggle. So it's worth understanding the standard. And back to that point about substantive new skills, have to be, you have to develop substantive new skills through the program. And then there are these two, you know, there are 2 apprenticeships in HR. There's a level 3, the level 5, and on the screen you can see the differences between the two. None of these differences are set in stone or black and white. There's always an element of grey and judgment about this, but that should give you, I hope, an idea about some of that. Rob, can I just come to you a little bit and say, who is it you're hoping will come on the program? Who are the people who you want to put their hands up and say, yeah, this is something I want to do?
It's a great question. So I think we're really quite open actually about colleagues and who might want to apply. I would be really keen to see a diverse range of people applying to come onto these kind of programs, colleagues from across different government departments, colleagues that are working in a range of different locations across kind of the UK and wider. I think there is just something about the community that you establish as a group of apprentices, that if you have a diverse cohort coming through, that can't be anything but positive and good for the creativity and the innovation you would create as a group of individuals. So we are really quite open to people applying for these, talking to their line manager and making sure they take up the opportunity on the conditions that you set out earlier, around making sure that you've given some thought to to why you are applying for the program and how you would use that learning in your HR role at the moment.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we're open-minded.
Yeah, okay. So that's a really clear message. I mean, let's throw it open. Don't prejudge yourself out.
Right.
And we want to hear from you. That would be fantastic. Caroline, coming to you on, the most, what people get out of the apprenticeships, and thinking more broadly than civil service at the moment. When we talked about, what is that we talked about, what are the personal goals you should have? What are the sorts of things that other people doing the HR apprenticeships have as their personal goals that they want to get out of it?
I think it's passion for the profession, really. Yeah. I mean, obviously, within the civil service, they've got so many opportunities within HR, and I know being on the capability pool, there's a keenness for people to move around departments as well. So I think whether you have a qualification or whether you have an apprenticeship, effectively, it's your kind of your ticket is the thing that proves that you've got the experience behind you, which is really important. And of course, for those of you who might want to move on from the civil service at some point, it offers that opportunity as well. So, I mean, our key passion is very much in line with civil service, really. It's about professionalising the function and making sure that people actually have the technical skills and experience to be giving the right advice to line managers and employees as well, because it's so critical.
Yeah.
So.
Well, listen, guys, big thank you to you all. Loads of great questions coming in, and we'll pick up some of them now. So do you get the same CIBD status for both the level 3 and the level 5?
Easy question. Yes.
You do get the same one. That's really good. The CIPD L&D qualification, is this feasible, or is it seen as separate from HR? So some interesting stuff to update you on, Caroline.
It's coming soon.
As an apprenticeship.
So as an apprenticeship, yes. So my understanding is that there'll be a L&D level 3 and level 5, and similar levels if you think we've got advisor and support, and it's going through approval process at the moment with the Institute for Apprenticeships. So I'm told if you go onto the IFA website, if you want to track the current status, the information is there for you. But that's very definitely something that we'd like to embrace as well for obvious reasons.
Yeah, no, we're really excited about that. A specific question about learning and design role within HR. I suspect that actually the L&D apprenticeship is likely to be the right one for that.
I mean, quite possibly. I mean, I think if you go on and access the standards, you get a real flavour of the kind of things that we're looking for. So yes, it might be better to wait. It really depends on your passion, actually. So and the closeness of your current role or potential role to enable you to meet those standards. And I guess one thing to emphasise with those people who've got these specific questions, we'll do our best to answer them today. But Archer Fantastic will be able to give you that personalised advice to help you make the right decisions, because they want you to be successful out of this programme as well as yourselves.
Sure, everyone does, I think. So this is a really great question for you, Rob.
Okay.
If you're already in a role, how does moving on to an apprenticeship programme affect your terms and conditions, your pension, and so on? That's a great question, by the way.
Very good question. So if you are currently in your role and you are doing your apprenticeship as part of that role, I can't see why it would affect your normal terms and conditions or your pension. I think if you were looking to move role because you felt there was another role that had a close fit to some of the standards that are set out as part of the apprenticeship, then you would need to ask that question from your HR team or your line manager before making the move across. But under the proviso that you're doing it within your current role, then I can't see why there would be an impact on your terms and conditions or your pension.
Great. So hopefully pretty clear.